Welcome to Share Talk, the only podcast where investors come first.
Hi, this is Zak Mir with the Bulletin Board Heroes here on Share Talk for Wednesday, the 5th of August. Starting off with All Active Asset Capital, which has been one of the best performers of the past few months. I think it's even given Novocyte a run for its money. Apparently, it's rather difficult to buy stock for some reason, which is perhaps not surprising given the recent rises. Current charting position is that we've got a rising trend channel shown in black there, with the two black lines, 4.25 the floor of the channel, the top of the channel heading up to 9.25, and that's the, I suppose, 4 to 6 week target on the shares. If you are a fan of the stock and want to hear something which might cheer you up, best case scenario target here over the next 2 to 3 months is to hit that red March resistance line projection, currently heading towards 15 pence, but at least above the 4 pence area, looking pretty set fair for All Active at the moment. A stock which had a nice flurry at the beginning of the day, but hasn't quite pushed on through as one might have liked, is Braveheart Investment. I think I said before, the level to break really is 21.5 on an end of day close, last month's intraday resistance. If you want to have a deeper dive or a closer look, I suppose we broke that July resistance line there around the 16.5 pence level. The view at this stage is, at least while we're above the 50-day line, we could see further gains. Best gains are obviously to the top of that channel from March up to 37 pence, but we really do need to see an end-of-day close above 21.5 versus today's intraday high of 23. So let's see what happens there. Next up is a requested stock from a follower on Twitter. So I thought I'd have a look at this one. It is Cambria, Africa rather. Here, a bit disappointing. We've had a sort of double top here at the just above the 200-day moving average, 0.35. Really need to see an end of day or end of week close back above the 200-day line to give us the confidence that the upside is on its way. But at least, I suppose, technically we are in a rising trend channel, which I suppose is heading towards the 0.45, 0.5 pence area. That's from February, and at least while we're above the floor of the channel at 0.25, we've got the chance of upside, but prefer to see an end of day close above the 200-day line, or a weekly close above the 200-day line, as confirmation or further confirmation of the upside scenario. Stock which is not so difficult to get a handle on at the moment is Cobra Resources. Here we've had recently a nice little flag formation, been in place since the middle of last month, and it looks like we're ready for a new leg to the upside. Resistance there from last month at 2.3 pence, so end of day close above 2.3 could take the shares on a journey towards the top of the rising trend channel from March up to 4.25 pence. In fact, we've really already broken higher in terms of having broken that May resistance line at 1.75 pence, and since then obviously we've been up on our way, but the next stage up, 2.3 pence plus stop loss back below the 50-day line, ideally at 1.73. Next up, a stock which has also been one of the better performers of the year to date. Here we see that Dev Clever broke its line of resistance there from May around the 7.5 pence level in the early part of last month. We've held above, at or above the 20-day moving average, currently at 8.6 pence. But the view of this stage is, at least while we're above that initial July peak at 8 pence, further upside could be on tap, and target here, the top of the rising trend channel that I've drawn from October up to 16 pence. So above 8 up to 16. And obviously, if you're cautious, wait for a break of 10 pence. But it looks as though the price action is strong enough at the moment. Stock which bubbled up very sharply today, and I saw that some people have taken advantage of it financially already, is IQAI, a stock with a lot of fans. A bit of a blink and you missed it peak towards, 7.5 pence. The key today, I suppose, is closing above that initial May peak at 5.2 pence. That would be nice. Even nicer, an end-of-day close above the late April peak at 6.4, but probably we're looking at somewhere near that initial May peak at around the 5.2 pence area. Above that, looking for a best case scenario target up to that May resistance line projection, currently heading towards 11 pence. Sub 5.2 probably just means messy price action between 4 and 6p near term, so a bit more disappointing. Lounges is a stock I think I've already looked at once before, and I think after that it sort of petered away, but we've had a bit of a slingshot formation here. So we had the spike there in May, and we pulled back to get rid of the weak hands presumably, and then the gap higher today. End of day close above the 50-day moving average around 125 could be enough to take the shares up to the top of that rising March trend channel up to £1.70. Stop loss at this stage back below the 20-day moving average and the floor of the channel there, let's say sub £1.14. Stock which has done rather well over the recent past is Maestrano. Followed it, I think we've followed it all the way up actually, but a few gaps there along the way, which shows the momentum behind the shares, one to start this month as well. Current view is that while we're above the July peak at 8.7, looking for further upside. Initial target there, a line of resistance from July last year at 15 pence, best case scenario target over the next month or two, up to 20 pence at that red November resistance line projection. Always good to see Red Rock Resources back on the front foot in terms of the price action, given the stock's history. Nice V-shaped bull flag here, bouncing off old resistance as well, around the 0.45 pence level. At least while we're above 0.45 and maybe down to the 20-day line at 0.43, looking for a top of November price channel target as high as 0.85 over the next 4 to 6 weeks. San Leon Energy has been a very frustrating situation with a high contrast between the fundamentals of the company, paying out dividends, etc., and the share price still in the lower ranges. But looks like this week we'll get a weekly close back above the 200-day moving average at 24.5 pence. And at least while we're above the floor of the March trend channel at 23 pence, looking for a long-awaited move to the top of the February price channel at 35 pence over the next 4 to 6 weeks. Hopefully, if you're cautious on the stock, maybe wait for a clearance of the initial July peak at 26.6. But it does look as though these shares are finally on their way. Just a few shares to go in this rather marathon session, rather more marathon than I was counting on, but can't resist looking at Thor Mining again. Here we've broken that old resistance from December at 0.55. While we're above that, looking for the top of the rising December trend channel as high as a penny, and perhaps as soon as the end of this month or going into the first half of September. Verditech is the second last stock of the day, and nice rebound there, shaking out the weak hands below 10 pence yesterday. In fact, the plus point here is actually the way that we didn't need to go down to the 50-day line at 8.7 pence. Instead, we bounced off an uptrend line from May at 9.25, and at least while we're above the 10 pence level, looking for a May resistance line projection as high as 18 pence, perhaps as soon as the end of the month. If you want to cheer yourself up for Verditech fans, best case scenario target here over the next 2 to 3 months is a 2019 resistance line projection, currently heading towards 27 pence. But all of that valued really well. We hold above the 10 pence area. One or two issues this week, a bit of confusion regarding Extract Resources, but you can see that the shares have bounced back quite nicely. Initially, they bounced off that uptrend line from March around the 1.15 pence level, and they have made further progress since then. Looking now just really for an end-of-day close above last month's resistance at 1.45 pence. If we can get that, finally we'll be heading towards the top of the March broadening triangle there on the daily chart at 2.35 pence. The stop loss is obviously back just below recent support, and the 50-day moving average at 1.25 pence. That's it from me today. More updates tomorrow.
Thank you for listening. Remember to visit our website for more news and other podcasts at www.share-talk.com.